Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Zach Erickson from Nintendo Dads, and today I am offering a second opinion for Super Mario Odyssey, another review. Nintendo of Canada was gracious enough to get us a copy of this game as well, so thank you, Nintendo of Canada, for this review copy of the game. And let's jump right into it, man. I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're always playing around with different formats and stuff with these reviews. So let me know in the comments how you like this, but let's get into it. Okay, so let's get straight into the review. First thing that I think is really important is that this is not the Breath of the Wild for Mario. A lot of people, I think, were expecting that. This game, I feel, does not shake up the formula like Breath of the Wild did, right? This feels very much like a traditional Mario sandbox game. And that's a good thing, right? I think that's a wonderful thing to have, especially this early in the life cycle of Mario, or sorry, of the Switch. This is a really important game to have for the Switch early in its lifestyle. And I specifically say that because I feel like they still have room that if they wanted to do something that is that sort of formula redefining Mario experience, they still have time for that on the Switch. This is it's consistent with what a lot of what Nintendo's doing, which is nostalgia and pulling people back into the Switch who have good memories of Nintendo, right? Sitting with Mario 64 and thinking, oh my gosh, look at these 3D graphics, this is amazing, and playing through all of those, by the way, this is spoiler free, so I'm not gonna spoil anything. I would just say, if you've seen what Nintendo has shown, then I'm not gonna show anything too crazy different. I am gonna show some sort of videos interspersed here, but you've already seen some, so what I will say, however, is that the controls. I think first thing we need to get into is the controls of this game. Mario controls exactly the way that you expect. They've added new things, and the things that you expect are perfect, right? They're exactly the way. I've beaten the game. I haven't collected all the stars or moons or whatever, the moons. But I have got almost 300 moons at this point, and so I've unlocked the majority of the post-game content at this point. At least most of it's accessible to me. That's all I'll say about that. But the controls, after all that time, I still am unsure about some of the weird double jump, triple jump, hop, step, throw the hat, jump on the hat, dive forward, all that stuff. I've watched some videos of people doing that, and I'm like, I got no idea how you're doing that. Although some of the moons and some of the things and levels, you have to do that in order to get to them. And so for those people, that's there. Where some of the controls are a little bit, I guess how I'd put this is that this game was designed to be played. If I got my Switch here, it's designed to be played while you're playing like this, right? Not even with a Joy-Con grip. And so what's interesting is that to throw the hat, all of the hat maneuvers, you can push Y and he'll throw the hat. If you press and hold Y, it'll spin or whatever. Waggle controls, and I'm gonna motion controls. You can throw it. You're right. You literally just throw it. But if you go like this, and I look stupid like I'm seeing myself as I do this, I realize this looks dumb, but whatever. If you go like this, sideways, then it does the sort of spinny hat thing. If you throw them up like this, then he will throw his hat up. If you throw them down, then his hat will roll on the ground, right? And that's, if you are not using split Joy-Cons, you still can do some of those. I haven't figured out how to do all of them. But for example, the hat spin thing, you can do that by doing his sort of by rotating the L stick really fast, the left analog stick, until he kind of does his little spinny move and then throw the cap, and he does it. And I've gotten pretty good at doing that pretty fast when I'm playing in handheld mode. But it doesn't feel nearly as good as just being able to So I don't understand why that's necessary to have them that way. Like, there's no reason that you couldn't have had some sort of button combination in order to pull that move off, right? And yes, you do, like, it's not satisfying to spin and then throw it. Like, it should be like hold down both of these and push this or something, right? Like, it wouldn't have been that hard, or to have those options there. So that's my first complaint, is that they force you into docked mode in order to get the most experience out of this experience. That's also to be said, this game is way better on the TV, like visually, than on the, just because the way that they set up some of the visual shots, Mario can be very small sometimes, and to play it on the big screen makes all the difference in being able to see the detail. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just being aware of that. And as we think about the fact that I think it was only 20% of people are play their Switch docked only. The majority of people play, sometimes at least, in handheld mode. So that's a little bit, that it's one of the things with the Switch, right? Is you've got to be aware that most people will be playing your game in handheld mode at some point. I know that I play it combined. Moving on to the level design and the things to do in this game, right? I think this game is beautiful, and like I said before, this is really calling back on Mario 64 more than just about anything else. And the kingdoms, there's a bunch of kingdoms, and some of them, there's a lot of variation in how much I liked those kingdoms, though. Some of them were beautiful, like the Metro Kingdom, right? New Donk City is just beautiful. And, I really liked, I'm trying to think what else I liked a lot. I actually didn't mind, I know some people didn't like Luncheon Kingdom. I thought it was visually really interesting, although the gameplay, the lava stuff was a little bit bizarre. Trying to think what else, without spoiling anything that hasn't been revealed. I was not a big fan of the Sand Kingdom. I know that, I've seen some people out there saying, oh man, it's huge. It's like this huge kingdom and it's expansive. I found it to be pretty empty sometimes, right? Like in certain areas it was empty, and I think that it was because they wanted you to use the Jaguar taxi. Is that what that? I don't know. The Sphinx guy to run around. But it was, it felt like they were trying to do the in Breath of the Wild with the sand seals, where you'd ride around behind the sand seal or whatever. But it was not. It didn't jive with me, I guess. So some of them were great, some of them not so much. Like the Cap Kingdom, it was cool that it was kind of like Tim Burton-esque, but then when you actually go back and get the moons later, is like, okay. Some of the kingdoms were very, very small and felt like they could have really been fleshed out a whole lot more. Like, you're trying to tell me that this Cap Kingdom literally is just this tiny little area, right? There's like this one tower that looks like a hat, and like this, I don't know, like 10 houses maybe sitting around. Left me wanting more, and I think that is a good theme for this. As far as the world goes, as far as a lot of these kingdoms go, is that they seemed like they were still in the conceptual stage. They didn't take that idea that was really cool and just blow it out, right? Like that would be really awesome and interesting. Whereas, like, for example, in the Sand Kingdom, you got this little town, but it's like 5 houses. And especially when they set the stage as, let's take this idea and just blow it up, right? Like the Metro Kingdom, I think, delivered on its concept, whereas Sand Kingdom, or with this sort of like Mexican theme, they delivered on it, but they didn't, right? And the same goes for like some of the other kingdoms as well. I won't get into there's some of the water stages. Like, why are we not seeing more of this? Like, where's the civilization? Where's the fun? Where's the some of that stuff? Not that every level has to be as densely packed as the Metro Kingdom, or as fully fleshed, but it definitely felt like, what would the Metro Kingdom, like, what does New Donk City in the Cap Kingdom look like? What does New Donk City you know, what is like the Cap Kingdom's version of New Donk City, because I felt like I got like this little village instead. And then yet off in the background you can see that there's other civilization and stuff, right? So I just wanted more of that. I wanted to, like, it was cool concepts and cool architecture and all of those things, but I was like, yeah, but there's still nothing here. Like where's the towns and stuff? I don't know. Anyway, I know that that's not what this game is, though, right? This game is primarily a platformer, and I said this on the Nintendo Dads episode this week, but comparing this game to Breath of the Wild, which I know isn't fair, they're two totally different games, but I'm going to do it anyways. Having said that, in Breath of the Wild, I can still to this day launch that game and find something to do, right? I can go snowboarding or shieldboarding or whatever. I could go like guardian hunting, which I love to do in that game just for fun. And in Mario, if you're not actively searching for moons and doing the platforming challenges that have been crafted for you, then this game doesn't really actually have a whole lot to offer, right? Like you can do speed runs, that's true as well, but there's no emergent gameplay. And that's really important to keep in mind when, you know, when setting expectations, I guess. That this is very much like Mario 64. You're going into a stage, and yes, you can discover them and they don't pull you out and all that sort of stuff, but it's a lot more of like Korok seed hunting in Breath of the Wild, where you go around the corner and there's a moon and you're like, oh, I didn't do anything for it, I just found it, but that's cool. But that also means that with a lot of those moons, there's not really a sense of accomplishment when you do that, right? It wasn't challenging. You literally just turned the corner where you hadn't turned the corner before and you found it. And it's, you know, like a collectathon in that way. So, it sounds like I'm being negative on this game, but I actually really, really enjoyed it. It just, I got up to the final boss in about 10 hours. And I wasn't rushing through, but I wasn't really like taking my time either, right? Like I wasn't going through the kingdom and getting everything that I could before going on to the next one. I got enough to move on to the next kingdom, and then I did. And kind of slowly meandered through the kingdom on the way there. So it was fun, but now that I'm in the post game, I will say a couple things about the post game, not spoilery, but there is not as much post game content. Or when I heard that there was post game content, I assumed that meant that there was going to be a lot more to discover as far as new kingdoms and all of that sort of stuff. There is not very much of that that's in the post game. There's some, and what they do is really good. Although even some of that, like for example, there is one, the focal point of the post game is in this one particular kingdom, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then upon further exploration, I kind of realized, oh, this is it. Like this is all there is. And yes, there's cool things, nooks and crannies everywhere. But this is it, right? Like it goes back to my initial complaint that the concept of the kingdom has so much potential there, right? And I'm talking about like blow this thing out, right? Like let's make this as big as possible as far as like area to explore. Whereas instead it's going back to the original Mario 64, where these levels are not very big at all. In fact, some of the levels feel like they're even smaller than the Mario 64 levels. Lots more to do within that space a lot of the time, but kind of left me wanting a little bit. So again, it sounds like I'm criticizing this game, but I'm criticizing it because the overall experience is really fun. The things to do in it are really fun, but they could have done so much more with it. And so for that reason, let's get into final thoughts. So, final thoughts. I love this game. It was really fun. It is a return to form for Mario fans, for the Mario franchise. It is a celebration of a lot of Mario's history, specifically the you know, sort of that target audience of the Mario 64 fans. I didn't talk a lot about the costumes and the collectibles, the souvenirs. I enjoy that, although I don't know if I'm necessarily going to have the patience to get all of the purple coins in every level. It would be fun, and I have actually prioritized getting a lot of the souvenirs for the Odyssey, the ship, and that's been really fun. But it does not have the staying power and the replayability that I was hoping for. I have played Breath of the Wild for over 100 hours, and I've played Mario Odyssey for maybe 15 or 20 at this point. And I'm like, there's a lot more to do. I just am not feeling right now like I'm not feeling as much of a draw to continue to do it. And I know that a lot of people are, and that's fine. And this is an interesting position to be in as a reviewer of, is it me or is it the game? And that's something that I think it's both at this point. Where 100%ing this game, I think there's going to be lots of people who really enjoy doing that. That's not really for me, I think, which is fine, right? And so, based on its merits, I can confidently give this game a 9 out of 10. But I dock that point because I see so much untapped potential. I see so much in the concepts, in the you know, in all of that. It's still a great game. 9 out of 10 is a great game. But there's a lot of untapped potential, a lot more that I kind of wish they would have done with it. And so yeah, I'm like DLC, I'm there day one, right? Like I want more of this game, and I want to be continue to be blown away. The ending of this game is phenomenal. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's so good. The best ending of any Mario game. So yeah, that's about all I have to say about this today, but thank you for watching, everybody. Mario Odyssey, incredible game. It is a must-own, right? It's a must-own for the system. If you don't have this game, if you haven't played it, then what are you doing? But it's yeah, it is more of a nostalgic callback than it is a sort of reinvention, right? And that is, I was hoping for more reinvention. I was hoping for more other sort of excitement, innovation, right? There's some innovation, not as much as I'd hoped, but I still loved it, and that it is, you just have to appreciate this game for what it is. And again, like I said at the beginning, this is a critical title for them to have early on in the Switch life, right? This is a classic sort of high quality, early Switch life Mario 3D platformer. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out for this video. Like the video if you enjoyed what I had to say. Leave a comment and let me know if you think I'm crazy. I feel like I am one of the few people out there who's daring to be super critical about this, and maybe it's because I'm the only one who's seeing it, or maybe it's because everyone else is super excited. I don't want to disparage any other reviewers out there. This is just my take on it. Of course, you can watch our other Mario Odyssey review by Justin. It is in the description below, or I don't know, maybe I'll figure out how to do the little cards and stuff. But until next time, everybody, subscribe, and thank you for watching. You guys are awesome. Bye.